Uh, Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedules to make yourself available for today's meeting and keeping this commitment. I am Trisha Conan. I'm here with Goodwill Industries of the Southern River, responsible for all of our career services. And I'd like the 5 of us that are on to further introduce ourselves. So it'll be quick today. So George, I can't see who's on the screen. So George, do you want to introduce yourself? She has been our backbone from an organizational perspective supporting us, but go ahead.
Sure. I'm George Friday. I live in Gastonia, North Carolina, and I am a lifetime member of the Southern Anti-Racism Network. And SARN compensates me for being your administrative support person. The other people, Trisha, are Jennifer Ladini and Joyce and Teresa.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies. I can say that officially. The next item on the agenda is for updates from partners. So I have shared, I'll start for Goodwill. I have shared in the chat 2 attachments, one being our Midtown Career Center's calendar for the month. Feel free to download that there, but I also wanted to share that we have recently added a child development associate training program, which is in response to a lot of the childcare providers in town needing to staff in order to create more daycare spots available to the community. So it's a great opportunity for people in the communities we're trying to serve. So please feel free to distribute that amongst the housing authority or your community members, neighbors, and family. I see that we have Ms. Danita joining us. Is that correct? Danita, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, I am Danita Gibson-Lloyd, the SPICE coordinator, and I'm also here at work, so y'all forgive me, I was with a client.
No problem.
Go ahead.
I said welcome.
Thank you for having us and hosting the call today. Thank you. I'm also wearing another hat of the Urban League of Greater Columbus, where I serve as the chairman of the board for that organization if Mr. Tracy Mosley is not on the call this morning, so I'll wear that hat as well on behalf of the Urban League.
Well, Danita, would you like to provide any updates from the Urban League for the group? We're just on the updates portion from the COP members.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. It is our 50th year with the Urban League of Greater Columbus, and we're in the process of publicizing activities we have planned for the year. The biggest thing thus far is our 50th anniversary gala that's taking place on October the 22nd, where our national president, Mr. Mark Morial, will be in attendance. We're focused on the history of the Urban League, where we are today, and our efforts moving forward as we work to, again, with our efforts with voter registration and civic engagement, also with entrepreneurship and our small business incubator programs. And once a month, we host, on the 3rd Saturday every month, we host a free housing workshop and seminar that allows people who may have challenges with the credit and understanding finance and everything else to be able to participate in this program. And at the successful conclusion of that program, they can qualify up to $50,000 in HUD assistance for down payment. So that's one of the ongoing programs of the Urban League. The other thing is that we're planning for our national conference in DC in late July. So that's that hat, but SPICE, strong parental involvement in community education. We're working aggressively and eagerly with those parents and those folks who are going to help us continue to pass the baton and move forward to engage those communities. Oftentimes we face some challenges in the housing complexes, getting parental engagement and getting them to come out and participate in the parents' councils that we're working to organize. But we've got 3 dynamic young ladies who are going to continue to assist us in those efforts. We've tried our best to make inroads in the Wilson community, Farley, Elizabeth Canty and Warren Williams housing complexes. And so we will continue those endeavors, but our biggest thing is the parent summit that we have scheduled for November, I think the 12th, where we are again working to engage parents, their children, community leaders, our advocacy partners to come out and participate, just as we did this past November when we had the parent summit. So we've got a lot of great things going on with Teresa Elamine as our founder.
Miss Danita, the November 12th, do you have a location already identified for the parent summit?
Mama T, do you have that location for the?
We'll be back at the DoubleTree Hotel. It'll be a 9 to 3 event, and we will have food this time, so we can make sure we hold on to people. And we have confirmations from the mayor and the superintendent as speakers, as well as a number of other partners.
Do you anticipate wanting vendors like you did last year?
Oh,
I believe we
definitely.
do, absolutely.
Okay. All right, I'll put it on the calendar for my team. Thank you.
We want vendors, we want sponsors, we want advertisers. So we are going to have an ad booklet and program. So we are excited about the event and what we'll also be able to offer to those participants that will join us.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We don't have the public library on board as of yet, nor the housing authority. Assistant Chief Joyce, is there something you want to share from the police department?
Hey, I'm sorry. I thought I was talking, but I forgot to unmute. So am I hearing correctly? Who was the person who was talking? Because I don't know who was talking. I don't.
That was Miss Danita, the SPICE coordinator.
Mr. Nita Lloyd Gibson?
Correct.
Oh, okay. I just didn't anything pop up.
No problem.
Yes, ma'am. Danita Gibson Lloyd.
Hey,
Good morning,
Danita.
Chief. How are you?
Yeah.
How are you?
Catch the voice, Danita. I didn't catch the voice. In the perspective, what do you really want me to answer? Because I got a whole hodgepodge of things to go to address, but what specifically do you want answered?
Well, we usually give our partners, and the police department is a partner, a 5-minute chance to tell us updates, primarily around public safety and how you're dealing with the continuous violence and the deaths. So a kind of report, if you know the homicides and exactly what the priorities are for the police department in dealing with public safety. And then I'll go after Deputy Chief Denton. Okay.
Okay, I know before the meeting started, Mr. Elamine, you had mentioned something about violence and about a child being shot. So I didn't know if you wanted me to talk about that specifically or just talk about something in general. But I will.
Well, just a general report
Okay.
from the police department. When the chief spoke with us at our last meeting, he gave a kind of overview of some of the work that's being done to deal with violence and the juvenile crime. So if you could do a kind of overview.
And I do have some notes here. So I want to talk specifically about what has happened in the last week. And you hit that, so I was getting information on about the update of the E. Canning shooting. That's still under investigation, where the 11-year-old was shot, and that child has been taken to Eggleston, and it does not look, we were told at this point, it does not look life-threatening. But as far as the patrols and what we're doing to circumvent it, I know Pure Violence had something on the news yesterday. I didn't catch all of it, but what our investigators are doing, and they're getting called in on the shootings. They're getting officers who are on patrol, which are in the special unit, which is, we call that special operations, special ops. these are the people that ride around and you probably wouldn't even know who they are. They're doing incognito covert operations. But as far as the last week on the shootings, we have some people who will not press charges, and that's concerning. Can y'all hear me? Okay, they will not press charges against the person, therefore they'll sign a waiver, and we have no information on what to go on because they're not providing it to us, even though they know what the car looked like, they know what the suspect looked like. But what we're getting is probably street justice, and that's dangerous to everybody. So what we're trying to do is get them to come forward and let us try to handle this, because crime is going it's going to keep evolving because people are having revenge shootings. So with that being said, we did also the same night on Sunday, we had a shooting on I think it was Forest at Florida. It was a Shell station where a 17-year-old young man was shot. That's still under investigation. We think that some of it may have spilled over from other incidents, but we're trying to piece it together because we're just working in the blind here. We really are working in the blind because we're not having the input from the citizens that we deserve. And surely with an 11-year-old child getting shot, you would think that somebody would come forth and say, look, I saw this particular car, or I saw this person with the gun, but we're simply not getting that. We're just not getting that. It's like, I don't know. I didn't see anything, but those are the woes that we're dealing with right now.
Well, thank you so much. I think that makes our summit in November very important. So please mark the date, Deputy Chief. Is your title Deputy Chief?
No, ma'am, it's Assistant Chief.
Oh, Assistant Chief.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
Assistant Chief, we definitely need you or the chief to plan to be on our panel for that morning, which will run between 9 and 10:30 a.m. On November 12th, which is a Saturday, and we will be at the DoubleTree. So the update I'd like to give, I need George's assistance in putting the strategy chart up so that we can review our goals, and to remind people that the 3 priorities for the Columbus Organizing Together Collaborative are affordable housing, education equity, and public safety, public health, because we do see the violence as a public health issue, as well as being in the middle of a pandemic for 2 years. So affordable housing, education equity, and public safety, public health. So I'd just like to show people an update on the goals. So we had said that we wanted to have parents committees in all of the housing authority properties. Well, that has been proven to be quite difficult. So we have kind of advanced to the idea that we will have a Columbus-wide parents organization that will be led by Jennifer Ladeni, Destiny Wallace, and Jasmine Outlaw. Jasmine lives in the Warren Williams complex, so she's going to be the major liaison to the Housing Authority as we move forward to November. Because in November, I will literally give Jennifer the checkbook, and we will be very supportive of SPICE as a parents organization for the next 2-year period, in making sure that they have the resources that they need in order to organize and get parents participating, because a lot of the young people who are shooting up the place really should be in school and should be graduating from high school. And we want to improve the graduation rates. So I would like to go straight across to the strategic objectives, just to show what we've accomplished. So we started out in November of 2020 with this 2-year plan. And this has been tied to the fact that we have a memorandum of understanding with the Housing Authority that takes us up to November of 2022. We will not be seeking a new MOU with the Housing Authority because we've developed some relationships with parents and we've surveyed them. So we just communicate with them directly through Jennifer, Jasmine, and Destiny going forward after November. And so we are very proud of our accomplishment in getting the $55,000 from the Columbus Consolidated Government. But we have agreed to not apply for any more of the public tax sales dollars. So we are raising money from individuals and businesses and other areas here in Columbus to support the project going forward. So Danita Gibson Lord and I will be doing major fundraising, getting ads for our ad booklet for the November summit. So this is where we are. We have accomplished quite a bit. And so I just want to say that this has been in some ways like a project of the Southern Anti-Racism Network. And we want to, for the next 2 years, from November of this year forward, that this would be more of a collaboration so that information on the new chart will be based on what the partners are doing, as well as the work that SARN has initiated. And one of the key partners that we added, look at the collaborative partner list, is Girls Inc. It is just really disturbing how much trouble girls are getting into in school. And so we have a new partner with Girls Inc. They supported us for our Mother's Day essay program. And then we have the Georgia Budget Policy Institute, which does a lot of legislative work. And Destiny, the other parent coordinator, she was at the meeting last night, and I've asked the outreach coordinator for the Fund Georgia aspect of Georgia Budget and Policy Institute to speak to us at our September meeting. And I just want to confirm with Sister Danita that the Urban League will be our host for the September meeting. And we do need to choose a date within the first 10 days of September so that Aaron Robinson, who will be our kind of guest speaker, telling us about Fund Georgia and our education equity priority. So thank you. So Sister Tricia, that's my report. So I think we can look at other areas of the agenda that haven't been covered. But George, thank you. You could take down the strategy chart so we can see everybody. Great.
Well, you know, Sister Elamine, you've done most of the agenda now. I thank you for an extremely thorough update and review of the strategy chart. We are now, you also introduced or informed the group of the 2 latest additions to as far as partners concerned, Girls Inc. and the Georgia Budget Policy Institute. So looking forward to them being at our next meeting. And you've given some SARN 2022 work with SPICE. You just gave that update in regards to what Jennifer is going to be doing and the work with Girls Inc. there. So that's all very exciting and great news. I want to make the room available. We're on now announcement and any requests. So if there are any other announcements or requests by partners, now is the time to do that. Make that space.
Well, I just have a question, Tricia. I'm cleaning out my closet, and you know, part of our partnership is making sure that we donate to Goodwill. And there are so many locations, and I just wanted to find out from you where's the best location for me to drop off my bags of donations.
Well, what I'll do is I'll send you an email with all of our donation spots in Columbus, and any of those that are most convenient to you, we will gladly accept your donation.
Well, thank you, because I'm eager to clear out the closet.
Yes, yes. Thank you again for thinking about us when you're clearing out your closets. We appreciate it. That goes to help us put people back to work. If there are no other announcements, I know our next meeting is scheduled for September.
Joyce has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Would you take the agenda down for me, George, so we can see? I did not see that. Oh, Joyce and Jennifer. Okay, Assistant Chief.
Thank you so much, Ms. Elamine. I thought we were supposed to close it out. I have this on my calendar already from the last meeting about the summit, the November 12th summit at the DoubleTree. You gave it to me when we were at ECAN a few months ago. However, I just did not know what you needed from the police department. You gave a little bit today. You wanted myself or Chief Blackman to attend to be on a panel. And I just need a little bit more information so we can put this on our calendars and give it to our secretary so we'll know what we need. Because I know you like stats, so we'll know what to bring and what to be prepared for as a panelist. If you could just expunge upon that.
Yes, and I am been so neglectful, Tricia, because we didn't get an update from Jennifer. And Jennifer is moving into a very important role, but what she does now is a lot of work for our children, particularly children with autism. And I think Jennifer should give us an update about the work she's doing in the community with Georgia Can and with other organizations for our children.
Okay, so in regards to Assistant Chief's question, you all will let her know what you need from her and the chief in preparation for that the November summit.
Yes, after Jennifer speaks, I'll explain the opening panel and the fact that Janita Gibson Lloyd is the MC for the day.
Okay.
And she and I are mapping out who will be on the panel, but we know we're asking our partners who are working on affordable housing, education equity, and public safety, public health. That's how the panel will be represented. And of course, the Columbus Police Department is our public safety partner. And so we can talk more about details because a lot will happen between now and November, but it's gonna be an update because everybody's like, what are we gonna do about all these killings and the children and blah, blah, blah. So it will be that kind of a presentation, Assistant Chief. So we can talk more later, but you will be sitting on the dais as one of the panelists. So you'll probably have 10 minutes to speak. And so we'll probably have about 4 or 5 speakers who will be speaking in our priority areas. You'll be our public safety speaker. The superintendent will be speaking about education. And the mayor will open us up, and then we'll have a representative speaking about affordable housing. We may have 2 of those because I'm hoping that NeighborWorks will also join our collaborative. But the Urban League has been really out front on making sure that moderate and low income people have access to affordable housing, including how to buy a home. So there will definitely be an Urban League person speaking on affordable housing. So that is the shape of the panel that Sister Danita and I have been discussing, so that we would have probably about 4 speakers on a panel to make sure our areas of priority are covered, as well as the opening message from the mayor. So he's already agreed to be there. So he'll give our opening message like he did last November. So I hope that helps, Assistant Chief.
Yes, ma'am, it does. And I'll just, as the day gets closer, we have it saved today, and I'll just get back with you on the agenda. You cleared it. Thank you.
And I just want to confirm, November 12th is a Saturday, right?
Yes.
November 12th. Okay, from 9 to 3. Okay,
Yes.
thank you for that. Jennifer, would you please give us your update?
All right. Hi, everyone. Before I get started, Assistant Chief Dennis Fitzpatrick, I want to tell you thank you from the autism community. I know there was an issue with a communication with one of the missing autistic young adults a while back ago, and it looks like it had been addressed because it's no longer showing someone suffering with autism. It now just shows that they've been diagnosed or they have autism, and we greatly appreciate that. It seems like a minor verbiage, but for us, it just triggers a lot because we go through a lot when we go through the diagnosis process. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Pleasure.
We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. A suggestion too, I was thinking, maybe when we do the Parrot Summit, when it comes to crime and everything, I think because a lot of neighborhoods don't know, and it's been communicated before, if you cannot get a neighborhood watch going, the alternatives like having a town hall within the neighborhood with interested parties, to put it out there that that's an option. If that is a constant option, I'm not sure if it's just an option that's given at the time. I don't know, because I'm finding other communities are having this problem, like other than Oakland Park, like Benning Hills, Torch Hill, and all that. That might be something that could be helpful if that could be added when talking about neighborhood watches, because it's not always easy to get a neighborhood watch going, as we found out ourselves.
Okay, so you want us to add the autism piece to the neighborhood watch?
No, add a piece about neighborhoods that have trouble getting neighborhood watches started.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I jumped sometimes from subject. I'm sorry. Just on the crime piece specifically, there are some neighborhoods that are kind of grouped together differently. So not all of us communicate, or some of us don't communicate out of fear. And so it's harder to get the neighborhood watches going. But we don't know that there's an alternative to that until we have meetings. And sometimes that takes time to get done because there's so many things going on that the chief or the sheriff cannot get back in touch. And then we're told later, yeah, we can have a town hall, or we can have a meeting specifically with the interested parties in the neighborhood. And maybe to just put that piece out there ahead of time instead of just tell people to start a neighborhood watch could be a little bit more helpful.
and if you will give me a call after this call, I'll give you the protocol on doing that. I'm over the watch, so we have about 75 already set up, but you want an alternative. So just give me a call so I can get the particulars on what you're asking.
Okay, I think I still have the numbers.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
okay. The latest update, we haven't had anything new on legislation piece. The bill 208 died. So I'm going to get together with other legislators and try to have a come to the table meeting with local community advocates in the disability community, not just autism, but the intellectual and developmental disabilities as a whole. What I'm finding out is we're constantly neglected when it comes to new updates with the systems. We always see stuff for mental health and behavioral health, but we're always left at the side. Housing, the new 988 number, you name it. I'm going to bring that up in just a minute. I'm also finding that there's been a trend in Muskogee County School District where they're now trying to force the children back into their home schools, even though the programs may not work. They're trying to rush them out of the specific programs that have been created to hopefully blend them into general ed, which is part of inclusion and part of the IDEA, which is federal law to provide free and appropriate public education. So I'm not sure where they're going with this. I'm hoping maybe they're just planning on expanding the programs into the homeschools instead of having the bus routes go as long as they do. Some of these kids, including mine, will have to go on the buses as early as 5:50 in the morning. And maybe that could be part of it. I'm not sure, but like the program they were trying to put my son in for particular reasons, that was not going to fit his education needs. So I'm working on parents on trying to get around that and making sure their kids get the education that is required to get them where they need to go. Another thing that's coming up on the pipeline is 988, which is going to be a new national number similar to 911, will be going live in July 16. In the chat, I've copied the link for the Georgia 988 number, as well as a YouTube video that goes into depth with Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, what this means and some questions that have been asked. It's a very in-depth video that'll help explain some of it. What I don't know is what this means for Columbus as a community. This number is supposed to be like a link to the suicide lines directly without remembering complicated numbers, as well as crisis access. They direct the people to resources as well as listen to them when they're going through their actual said crisis. Right now, it's just going to be a warm startup where they do get to talk to someone on the phone and they refer them. And then if it's a direct emergency, they will call 911 and transfer them over to the corresponding agency. I'm not sure who to talk to on the 911 side. This is just new to me since the update I've heard of 2 years ago. I have not seen anything, no news pieces, articles, or anything to go by for what this means for each city as a whole. But it's supposed to be designed to hopefully take the mental health piece and the behavioral health piece off first responders' backs and actually get people directly to the sources that they need for intervention, as well as remove the stigma of mental health. And that's the gist of everything I've been doing lately.
Wow, that's a lot. That 988 number thing is huge.
It's
So
very huge.
I'll be looking forward to hearing about that.
I have a question, Jennifer. Have you been engaged with the Mayor's Council on Disability?
No, ma'am, I have not. I'm not even sure how to go about that because I've tried to get on other boards before and have not been successful.
Okay.
I would like to be on the council because there's a lot of needs that haven't been addressed. And I've gone to public agenda multiple times about different things. And they know I'm very active in the disability community.
Okay, I'm gonna try and see if I can find some more information on that for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other updates for the good of the order?
No, I'd like to propose that we choose September 8th, which is a Thursday, for our next meeting. And the Urban League will be facilitating our standard agenda like we use today. So that's the proposal, that we choose Thursday, September 8th at 11 a.m. for our next meeting.
That works for me. Is any objections to that proposal?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the date.
Thursday, September 8th at 11 a.m.
Okay, Thursday, September 8th. Okay, I'll put it on my calendar.
So-
That should work.
That's one thing I was gonna ask if, George, I'm not sure if you can help us with this. Do you have the capability of sending out a meeting invitation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I think that will help all the partners remember when the meeting is, and hopefully they'll be able to make it.
Well, George is our staff person, and the Southern Anti-Racism Network has devoted George to work for 2 hours to set up the Zooms and to send out the messages. So that's going to be ongoing for as long as we have this arrangement. So George is the staff person for our collaborative. And so for each person who's facilitating, she will work with the person like she worked with you, Tricia. So she'll be working with Danita to make sure everything gets set up for September 8th.
Okay, great.
We love George so much.
We do, and I really want to give her special thanks for all her support. And before we adjourn, I also want to wish George and you, Ms. Elamine, safe travels as you go to DC later this month for the march. So thank you so much for representing our communities.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other items, we will adjourn this meeting.
Sorry, I have one. Did she
Yes.
say 10 o'clock Thursday? 8th of
11
September?
a.m.
Did she say 10 o'clock?
11.
11, okay.
Mhm.
Got it, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Danita, were you trying to say something? Well,
Okay.
thanks, everybody. It's always good to end early. We have a 12 o'clock hard stop. So thanks for running a very efficient meeting, Sister Tricia. I'll see you.
Take care, and I'll send you that email. Everyone,
Bye.
have a good day.
Thank you. Safe travels.
All right, bye-bye.
George, be